Hey, the Bruce here, older brother of deconstruction. So, a couple weeks ago, I was having a conversation with Courtney, which is generally how all my video ideas lately come up. I'll have an idea and I'll take it to Courtney and he'll be like, put it on wax, which means put it on the video in this case. But I was talking about the failed Saban TV shows or the failed Saban Tokusatsu shows in the vein of Power Rangers and everything, and why Power Rangers worked and the other ones didn't. And I had that conversation with him. YouTube suggested Morphin Museum's uh, Dino Rangers pitch meeting, which was the pitch to get Power Rangers picked up by Fox. But it features the footage filmed for the Saban's adaptation of Bioman that he was shopping in the 80s after, the trip to Japan, saw Bioman, so on and so forth.
What's this all about?
It's about the Dino Rangers.
Dino Rangers!
And whew, it's terrible, but it got Power Rangers picked up and some retooling and everything till we got what we know of as Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And after watching that, and I go, ooh, so I can see why the other Toku shows failed. But the main thing that I would like to focus on and why it failed, or why they failed, was the series that were adapted. So the conversation was, hey, I think I know why all of Saban's other attempts at trying a Power Ranger formula with other shows did not work, because we had the Japanese footage, American actors, American storylines, and just copy paste, blah blah blah, done cheaply, and then now you have a show. But go with the first attempt, or after the success of Power Rangers, which was VR Troopers, which debuted on September 3rd, 1994. VR Troopers, I don't know how many people know this, but VR Troopers is comprised of 3 different TV shows. So they use footage from Matilda, Spellbound, and Space Sheriff Scheider. Now, VR Troopers got 2 seasons out of using the 3 shows. But the thing, so Ryan's first suit was Matilda, while Caitlin and JB was from Spellbound. So it was 2 different shows to make up a team of 3, which is why Ryan, Caitlin, and JB always broke up, and then Ryan's doing his solo stuff, and then they're fighting. Caitlin and JB are fighting together. But Matilda aired from March 16th, 1987 to 1988, and there was no follow-up series. So VR Troopers was successful, mainly because it was a syndicated show, and they can do a lot more than Power Rangers did, because they had different markets that they could appeal to. And with syndication, you didn't really have to follow certain standards, I guess it was at the time. But from 87 to 94, the show was off the air for 7 years. Now, Spellman, which aired from April 7th, 1986 to March 9th, 1987. So 1 more year, and there was, once again, not a follow-up series. So you used up all your footage of the shows that you're adapting, and then you go, oh, we used up all of Matilda, so what's next? Let's Space Sheriff Scheider, which aired from March 2nd, 1984 to 1985. So Scheider was after Sheriff, and there was no other Space Sheriff series afterwards. So you used up, even if you struck the success of Power Rangers, you had no follow-up, because I think the Metal Heroes series kind of died out a little bit in the 90s. Wasn't really heavily pushed to that level. But that gets me on to the next show, which is Big Bad Beetleborgs, which aired for 2 seasons. First season, September 7th, 1996. Second season, which Beetleborgs Metallics, September 8th, 1997. Now they adapted the B Fighter series, which the first season, Juku B Fighter, aired in February 5th, 1995. Now that's a 2 year difference from that show being adapted to this show ending. So you're still adapting, and then when Metallics came out, it adapted B Fighter Kabuto, and Kabuto once again March 3rd, 1996. Not that big of a series or a gap between, but I think the next in the line of series, I don't know if it was, I think it was a related series. It wasn't a direct sequel. Was B Robo Kabutok, which is the everything changed about it that it wouldn't have made a good American Toku show in the vein of like the B Fighter Kabuto, Juku B Fighter, and all that stuff. But there was nothing afterward for it to be adapted. So at a time, Big Bad Beetleborgs was bigger than Power Rangers. I think it outpaced Zeo. So it was getting bigger ratings than Zeo. But there was nothing afterwards. So it ran its course. You do Juku B Fighter Kabuto, and nothing. So once again, with the success, you have no follow-up. Now, it's just a little weird. Like you're attaching yourself to these shows. Like I'm going to remove the B Fighters from it because they would still relatively look like they were airing when they were adapted, but they weren't on TV. And here comes my favorite, Saban's Mask Rider, which aired September 16th, 1995 to November 20th, 1996. They got 2 seasons out of it, which adopted Kamen Rider Black RX and then sprinkled other past Kamen Rider series. But Black RX aired from October 23rd, 1988 to September 24th, 1989. The next Kamen Rider series to come after that was Kamen Rider Kuga in 2000. You knew ahead, like when adapting Black RX, there was some Kamen Rider movies, but there wasn't a Kamen Rider series to keep, even if it was successful, to keep Mask Rider going. And the fact that you got 2 seasons out of Black RX was chef's kiss. I still gotta watch RX, or Black and Black RX, but there's gaps in the series that's been adapted. It's like, oh, we can use this and get the same success, and then you're out of footage. Oh, we can use this and get the same success, and then you're out of footage. And I think the one thing that worked for Power Rangers is you had Zyuranger, then it goes into Dairanger, which you took something like some footage or in some certain things like the White Ranger suit from Dairanger, then you kept moving. Then you go to Kaku Ranger. Then you take the Zords fight scenes, introduce ninja stuff. The theme and everything still works with what you have. Then you pivot, and then boom, now you're on Zeo. So even though you didn't have the same footage, you had enough time in between the series because I think Zyuranger aired in '92, Power Rangers aired in '93. You can still get access to suits and everything and keep it going. But then when it comes time, you can pivot, and then Power Rangers have been mimicking a Sentai formula until, its end and possibly whatever relaunches, who knows. But I think when you're going into adaptation and you're taking stuff that's 7, 8 years done airing and there's no follow-up, I think that was just a terrible idea. And in practice, you saw how it failed. Even, I guess, when you do your own American stuff like Mystic Knights, didn't really catch on and you're just wasting money, so on and so forth. So I like the idea of them trying to not rely heavily on the Japanese tokusatsu shows and doing something different. But I think when you look at the time span in between the show you're adapting to you adapting it and seeing if there's nothing afterward or no other adaptation that you can use outside of the B Fighters, and even still there was nothing afterward. So I guess it Beetleborg and Beetleborg Metallics went the way of Juku B Fighter and B Fighter Kabuto. So those are just thoughts in a conversation that I had with Courtney on how I think the Power Ranger formula only worked for Power Rangers and trying to adopt it to any other type of series or other Japanese toku or Metal Heroes or generally any Japanese shows that did not have like a follow up. Like if with Masked Rider, I say, nah, it's still, but like you should have started with Black, then gone into Black RX. But those are just my thoughts. Yeah, I don't do this, but if you're watching this and you kind of agree and you have your own thoughts, put it in the comments. Don't care if you like or subscribe. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.